Hello everyone, Nicole Cordoves here, and it is that time of the year once again where we would do a Q&A review of the upcoming Miss Universe candidates who will be competing soon. So I asked you recently on my Instagram stories who you think I should include in my list for today. This is not a ranking of any sort, but I guess the ones that you guys picked were the more impactful answers that actually made a mark on you and the more unforgettable ones. So let's go through them one by one today. But before I dive right into my Miss Universe 2021 question and answer review, this video is sponsored by Skillshare, which is an online learning community with thousands of classes available for every kind of creator. Its courses cover a wide range of topics from productivity, photography, to marketing, gardening, you name it. Right now, I'm actually taking up classes on creative writing because much of what I have to do, from hosting, public speaking to content creation, requires storytelling skills. Also enjoying a class that teaches me the more technical aspects of producing good videos, which I find very helpful because I pretty much had to learn the ropes all on my own. So if ever you notice improvements in my next episodes, you know why. And as a treat, the first 1,000 of my subscribers who will click the link in the description box below will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare so that you can explore your creativity today, because learning never stops. And now let's begin with our Q&A review, starting off with Miss Universe South Africa, Lalila Mswane.
Your question is, the elections are coming up. What are you looking for in a leader?
What I look for in a leader is somebody who is self-aware, very accountable, and encourages critical thinking, innovation, and action. But most importantly, prioritizes the personal development of every person in South Africa. I believe that a phenomenal leader possesses all these qualities. Thank you.
Lalila obviously is a very powerful speaker, and she is a powerful speaker in such a way that she really took time to deliver her answer and enumerate the qualities she's looking for in a leader. And she didn't have to rush herself or put too much words in her answer because she knows that it can stand on its own. Like, she doesn't have to impress with the number of words per minute she can speak out. She knows that every word she is saying is powerful and important, and she wants to emphasize it and deliver it effectively to her audience. But I like how she goes from a general answer that will resonate with more people into a more specific one, which is more of her personal take on what she thinks an important quality is for a leader to have. And that is a leader who focuses on the personal development of individuals. And I interpret that myself as like social mobility also, because if a leader is able to give its constituents enough opportunities to grow as a person and move up the ladder in society, that will be a very effective leader. So that was already a very strong answer in itself, but she wrapped up her answer so tightly and really solidified her placement or her win by using a catchphrase, a phenomenal leader. That is what I think a phenomenal leader is. So she went from like, I'm not just looking for a good leader, we need a great leader, a phenomenal one, in fact. Good job to Miss South Africa for delivering a very complex but still relatable and easy to understand answer to a very simple question that we actually have heard a lot of times already, and it's something you would expect. So I love me a girl who can put more depth and more suspense and twists to her answer. Like, I could really see her effort to give a better answer compared to the past queens in pageant history who have already answered the same question over and over again. Next on our list is Anjali Scott Chemis from Thailand. She is one of your most requested candidates for me to review, and I love how Miss Universe Thailand has 2 rounds of Q&As. That's more material for me to cover today. Yay! So let's start with their first round of Q&A.
On November 1st, Thailand will reopen the country to all, and I repeat, to all of the international visitors. As a Thai citizen, how would you prepare for this reopening?
I think we all need to get vaccinated, and we also should have the right to choose what vaccination is best for us and our bodies, because that is the liberty and that is a right. I think having that comfort in choosing what vaccine is right for you will give people more comfort and open their hearts more to opening the country, especially if there's hesitations. Thank you.
So at first, I was actually culture shocked in a way with how Angeli answered her question, but not in a bad way, because you can see here how differently countries are facing the challenges that the pandemic brings. And Angeli chose to highlight vaccine hesitation. So I got curious myself as to what the vaccine rollout has been like in Thailand and what brands have been available to them. Do people also experience the same shortages as us? So based on Angeli's answer, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, okay, they have the privilege of having more brands available to them compared to us here in the Philippines. So I got curious with her answer, and I also wanted to find out whether her answer is actually very informed or backed up by the current events in Thailand. I found this article in The Diplomat that hinted on the distrust of the youth in the provision of the government of vaccines for them. If you think about it, Angeli's answer was actually very powerful and very bold. My favorite answers from national pageants in other countries are the ones that really give us their lens, like they show us their lens or their perspective of what's really going on in their country, because these are news that don't usually reach us on social media, and sometimes we don't even have time to bother checking the state of the pandemic in other countries anymore because we have so many problems already within our own country. So I think it's really important for candidates of Miss Universe to be able to really kind of report on what's happening on the ground, what their situation is in their respective countries. Now we move on to their second question and answer round.
If you become Miss Universe Thailand 2021, certainly means that you would have a powerful voice to speak out more influentially. Climate change has been one of the most critical global issues. There's still people who do not realize that climate change is occurring and affecting all of us. How would you raise awareness and convince them on this matter? Go ahead.
I would start by showing them empirical evidence, because I think it's irresponsible for us to ignore empirical evidence. But I'll also talk about neutralism, because I think if you're neutral, you're on the side of the opposer, and climate change is no different. We have a moral responsibility to do what's right, and to do what's right for our younger generations. So I would pull our social responsibilities and moral responsibility card, because it's essential for human race to continue in a safe manner. Thank you.
I would have to say that Angeli has given one of the most memorable answers in pageant history. Why? Because there is no word that you can drop in her answer. Like, every word sounded catchy, every word made sense why she put it there. I would even remember everything. Like, I could run it down, like from empirical evidence to neutralism, side of the oppressor, moral responsibility, and social responsibility cards. So I kind of memorized her answer really easily. I like how she gave a new flavor in answering a very cliche question. I say cliche not because it's any less important, but because it's been asked over and over again in pageantry. Actually could have easily said, just trust science, but she put a lot of academic flair into her answer that is not too unrelatable for the audience either. Like, she picked the right language to be technical, but at the same time be understandable and unforgettable. Definitely one, if not my most favorite answer from the candidates that I have heard during this year's Miss Universe 2021 pre-competition. Up next, we have Harnaz Shandu from India.
My topic is global warming and climate change. One day life will flash before your eyes, make sure it's worth watching. But this is not the life we want to watch. But climate is dying, the environment is dying. It is one of the fiasco that us as human has done to the environment, but I think we still have time to undo our irresponsible behavior. Earth is all what we have in common, and these small acts as individuals, when multiplied by billions, it can transform the whole world. Start now, from tonight, switch off those extra lights when not in use. Thank you.
So I put Miss Universe Thailand and Miss Universe India side by side because they were asked the same question. But as you can see, Harnaz gave a totally different approach in answering this question. From a very scientific and academic approach of Anjali, she gave a more storytelling approach that appealed to the emotions of the people. I felt like every word that she was saying, I was visualizing her answer right before my eyes. She didn't even have to put in any jargon, but at the same time, you can feel that she has a really deep answer. And even though she would say things like, you know what, it's our fault, we caused this fiasco, as she called it. She said it in such a tasteful way, and not in such a way that you feel like you're being blamed or you're in a sermon or something. So her answer developed from an emotional approach to an inspiring approach by, you know what, it's our fault, but I believe we can still do something. It's not too late. So I like how it really takes the structure of a story, you know, like, okay, climax, and then, okay, call to action. For a very limited amount of time, she was able to say so much. Even though her answer was so deep and emotional, she switched to something really light by literally saying, switch off those extra lights when not in use. The way she placed that very simple statement or call to action, it was like a mini call to action. At the end of her deep and profound answer, it was suddenly very relatable and very easy to do. She makes you feel like, yeah, it's true, I can actually do something the moment I get home to mitigate climate change. So yeah, this is the kind of answer that I would keep going back to, and every time I dissect it, I would learn something new or catch something new, because there's just so much content in 30 seconds. This is just like a bonus topic. Like, I've been seeing a lot of content on social media on Miss Universe Thailand and Miss Universe India, and I saw how they interact with people so well. They're really bold in their personalities. They're not afraid to be larger than life. So I like that about them. And even though I don't really search for them, they keep popping up on my social media explore page or my feed, which I think is a good way to establish yourself, especially in a world where pageantry is mostly digital now rather than physical. So bonus content like that from candidates would surely help them a lot. And last but not the least, we have Beatriz Luigi Gomez from the Philippines. And I would just be flashing her answer here because I know a lot of us have already watched it lots of times already anyway, and because copyright rules, they're very strict about that. So just so we don't get into trouble, I'll just flash her answer here. Bea was given a very simple question that didn't require a complex answer. And I like that she didn't complicate her answer at all. She answered straight to the point, and she gave a general overview of acknowledging that, you know what, it's been harder on a lot of us lately in the pandemic. She acknowledged the challenges challenges, the pain that a lot of people went through. Wonderful thing about her answer is that at the latter part of her answer, she connected to the audience, and this is very important for questions like this because it's a very personal question. So she ended her answer by saying that whatever you're going through, you will be able to overcome it. And I like a girl who really is able to identify that this question is a message to the audience and someone needs to hear this right now. So I really felt that part of her answer. I know a lot of people were yearning for more. It left them wanting for more, but this kind of question definitely did not require mental calisthenics of any kind. And although I do understand the frustration that is coming from a lot of pageant fans in the Philippines also, where they wanted to see more of Bea, like a lot more content from Bea, not just glam shoots, but also like interviews or any speaking content. But then since it's the pandemic, there aren't much events. I know how that can be very paralyzing for a candidate, but given that you have your platform, you have to make your own opportunities and give people content yourself. I mean, it's part of the responsibilities of a queen also to connect to its people. Although she did mention in an interview that she is an introvert and she has a harder time talking to a lot of people, and I get that. I get the social anxiety that comes with it. Although she did convey also that she's very confident with her question and answer portion as well, and obviously she did well also in her preliminary interviews, and also she has been doing well in the previous national pageants or provincial pageants that she has joined before. So I don't think it's gonna be a thorn in her skill set. I don't think it's a weakness for her, but just like what I said earlier, it's a very digital pageant now, and we don't even know if they're gonna have more activities this year in Miss Universe, same way they didn't have that much activities last year. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think is the most important quality that the organization is looking for in their next Miss Universe? Because I think that it's gonna be really important for the next queen to be a good spokesperson who is not necessarily a strong speaker, meaning that they would just give bold comments, I don't care who I cross kind of way, but someone who knows how to discern what needs to be said and what shouldn't be said, and that is more of a strategic speaker. So I think the organization really needs that this year, especially since it is very politically charged. It is being staged in Israel. There were a lot of withdrawals already by other countries. Miss Universe South Africa's government withdrew their support for her already. The next queen will have a lot more responsibility in carrying the brand's name and a bigger challenge to elevate the brand to what it was before. Personally, I believe there are more ways than one to tackle politically charged issues like this. That's why the girl needs to be strategic, and she needs to know what she's getting herself into. She needs to carry a bigger message of what she is fighting for, because now more than ever it's being highlighted, especially with all the questions surrounding the moves of the organization lately. Yeah, I think they need a really good spokesperson for that. So that wraps it up for our Miss Universe 2021 Q&A reviews for the pre-arrival. So I'm gonna do another episode on this when the pageant has been concluded, and I look forward to that. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell so that you won't have to miss an episode, because it's pageant season once again. So that means regular uploads for me. Thank you for watching this episode. Stay safe. At ito si Nicole Cordoves na nag-iiwan ng kasabihang, it is not the crown that makes a queen, but the queen who makes a crown. And the crown is definitely heavier this year.